Okay, well, welcome back everyone to the podcast. It's been a little bit, it's been a minute, but I'm finally got another awesome guest who decided or who was kind enough to join me. It's Francesco Aglieri Rinella. I hope I said that correctly. We did actually practice it
Yeah.
a little bit. Or I practiced it a little bit. So yeah, welcome, Francesco. I'm very glad that you were kind enough to join me.
Hi, Cornelius. Thank you so much for having me here. Such an honor. I was following your Substack. I was fascinated by all the guests you get on your podcast. So I'm very honored to be here today. And so I'm Francesco Aglieri Rinella. It's a very difficult Italian first and last name. And I'm a documentary photography from Italy, based in Italy. But I'm in real life, I'm an army instructor from the Italian army. So I run a side job that it's becoming my full time soon. That's photography, of course. And with documentary photography, I'm focusing on documenting the American heritage. I'm working on a different project that started in 2022 with a lot of road trips in the US. And I'm trying to find myself in another dimension different from what it is Italy. I'm trying to focusing on documenting the US because it's a very young country. And I think for a photographer like me, very young, it's like resonates a lot and it's possible to bring like more contemporary photography, contemporary content and be like enjoy the way of life that on the road trips,
Mm.
hikings, stuff like you do. Like in the US, it's possible to make just for a geographical reason, not because it's better than my country or something like that.
No,
I
no,
mean, I'm a true passionate. I'm a true passionate about the US since I was a child. So it boosts my creativity. So I'm always fascinated by the landscape, the scenarios, the people.
mhm.
So I created like a sphere of content where I belong, to be honest. So this is my project right now. And as you saw on my Substack, on my newsletter, or just my social network, I'm trying to involve people to see what I'm doing, being a foreigner and coming from another country and landing in another country that's completely different and bringing
Mhm.
like content. But I don't want to call that content because I'm not a content creator. I just call myself an artist, like many
Okay.
of us do, because I want to intimately leave the picture I do, the project I do, and so that's it. That's my like attitude towards this kind of art. That's photography, of course.
Okay. Well, I mean, you seem to be. I mean, I think my impression online is also that you're quite passionate about it, about your project that you're currently doing, as well as the photography in general. But you mentioned America specifically. It's a big project for you at the moment, and you were quite fascinated by it from a young age. Can you tell me a bit more about that, maybe?
Yeah, being like Western European, we like, I'm from the 90s, so
Hmm.
I'm from 1993, I'm almost 31 years old. So I grew up with the idea and with the like visual aesthetic of the 80 US because in Italy during the 19s we were watching a lot of TVs. There was no internet, so the
Mm-hmm.
main influence was the TV shows, movies, and all that stuff was mainly from the US.
Mm.
So Western Europe was very influenced by the US
Okay.
aesthetic, the US culture, and so I grew up with that idea that my vision were like movies
Mm.
or just music, pop music, hip hop, and something like that. That was all from the US, from that
Okay.
19th era. So I grew up with that idea that my American dream was at least possible, but I never traveled before. You can imagine that my first travel abroad was in Japan. Or in Japan
Wow.
was
Okay.
my
Yeah.
first trip inside Italy was Japan,
In the opposite
and
direction.
so yeah, upside direction. I wasn't. It wasn't meant to be like a photography project, but I just went on a solo trip to Japan, and so
Okay.
that was so fascinating that opened my mind to travel and to like being open to different cultures, different attitudes, people. I mean, Japan is very, very different from our culture. So what was like a shock on the first place.
It was one of the first. Sorry, it was one of the first places that you traveled to. Like quite like.
Yeah, well, the first trip outside Italy.
Italy was Japan.
My first ever.
Wow.
Yeah, was Japan.
I can imagine it was quite
on a solo trip. So not that common.
It was in the summer or the winter?
Well, it was like September 2019.
Okay. But why?
So it was like.
And why Japan? Did you just make a go like this and put your finger on the map? Or?
No, I was fascinated by Japan that time because I was focusing. Was my first film photography era. And so I was fascinated by film cameras, and Japan was like heaven for that kind of stuff.
Okay, makes
and
sense.
Also was fascinated by car culture, Japanese car culture. All the movies, Fast and Furious, something like that. I was like dying to see some realities, like pure reality of Japan car culture. And so blending that, I tried for the first time being a foreigner and experience something that it's different, that really opened my mind straightforward. So but that time I wasn't aware of my passion about the US like it is today. I mean, looking back to 5-7 years, I couldn't even imagine to make like 2 to 3 road trips to the US per year, like I made since 2022. So things happen and things change through time, but I'm glad I'm here with the path I experienced it in those years. So if I'm like this today, it's because I made those steps, and Japan was the first step, and then every
open your mind and then
shaped myself in every way of life, photography, living with people, culture, and something like that.
Wow, awesome. I think in a was just popped up in my mind that like you going to Japan. Ironically, I think for a lot of people from the US, when they come to Italy, their minds just go like, "Wow, this is such a different culture, so amazing."
There's a culture shock every time.
Yeah, but Italy, I mean, I've spent a fair amount of time there, more in the north. The furthest south I've been was Cinque Terre.
Cinque Terre.
Cinque Terre, but it's a beautiful country. I love the culture. I love the lifestyle.
That's the cliche of Italy. I mean, it's a beautiful place, like many of them. But I mean, I don't want to say that it's not the true Italy, because like I do, people go to the US and say New York, but the US is not New York City.
Absolutely. I agree.
Just they say I go to California, it's just Los Angeles. It's not that's just Los Angeles.
No, there's much more.
So this is like a bias that people think about Italy and say Italy, it's like Cinque Terre, Venezia, Venice, probably Rome and that's it. But we have like a lot of regions, a lot of cultures, a lot of influences. I'm from Sicily, so Sicily is a big island, and it has its own tradition, it's like an Italy on its own. So I always say to people, try to make like a road trip from north to south, because geographically it works, and try to experience all the shades of Italy before saying I've been to Italy and I visit like 3 main touristy cities.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that sort of encompasses my travel philosophy as well. I mean, we visited Cinque Terre. We were a little bit north in Moneglia and 1 or 2 other little villages. But once we drove from where we live in Switzerland to the southern part of Switzerland, to Ticino, and then on the way there, there's a little northern bit of Italy that Switzerland folds around, and you drive from Switzerland through the little bit of Italy and back into Switzerland, and you go through.
It's like Lugano.
No, you go to Domodossola.
Domodossola, like on the border.
Yes, on the border, close to the border. Yeah, but a bit further on, there were these small villages, and we were just driving, and there was maybe like 10 houses, in the mountains, and and we just saw a local market happened to be setting up, and we stopped and we had a lovely time with the locals. It's really like nice people, and yeah, not your
That's
typical
amazing.
touristy.
That is a true Italian northern experience. I mean,
Yeah.
it's worth it to experience once in a lifetime. I mean,
Yeah, and like I still tell people the same in South Africa. A lot of people go to Cape Town, or
yeah,
and okay,
everyone
that's South
goes to
Africa,
Cape
but
Town.
there's so many beautiful landscapes and diversity. But yeah, but that's not often considered by people. But I just want to bring things
Yeah,
back quickly to the photography part, which is one of the major things I would like to discuss
yeah,
today. Is how, and you mentioned you traveled to Japan.
yeah,
You were fascinated by the car, and obviously the car culture, and also the cameras. Obviously, a lot of the cameras we use today are manufactured there, etc. Um, were you were obviously into photography then already? Was it something you picked up from an early age, or was it by chance?
so
Or
probably Japan was my bloom of my photography passion, because I started in 2017, 2018, because I bought my first camera in late 2017, and I started with models, because I had friends that do that stuff.
Mhm.
So I was in my beginning phase, so I said, okay, let's go for the first thing that comes, and try to, I mean, study composition, the use
Mhm.
of the camera, basic stuff. So I started with models, and I started with photographing cars, because I was
Okay.
passionate about that. And that translated, like 7 years later, I photographed American cars in the
Uh,
desert and something like
ah.
that. And I'm also photographing people. So everything that I did that time
Mm.
was like propedeutical to arrive to where
Okay.
I'm today. So
Yeah.
I'm grateful for that. I mean, that shaped my point of view in photography.
Mm.
So my first phase was like 2 years. I
Okay.
was shooting digital. And then in 2019, I made my trip to Japan and switched completely to film photography, because I was really, really obsessed with the fact that you don't see the images, you are
Yeah.
focused on composing, you're just making the images, and
Mm.
not like talking about sensor, talking about last release. I mean, I was using like 40 years old cameras, and it was like a pain relief, because I say, okay, I don't want to rush things. I want to
Yeah.
live the photography experience. I don't want to think about the next camera model that will come out
Mm.
next year, because it's like a bad loop that
It
probably
gets it's
digital photography. I mean, it's like the iPhone. They came out every year with a new
mm.
model, and so I was like very, very pressured by that stuff.
Mm.
I can't stand like the New Year model, and so film photography gave me the possibility to achieve my own authorial look, my own
Mm.
authorial point of view, be myself, be present in the shoot,
Yeah.
and bring a cohesive body of work. I mean, you can do that with digital photography too, because it exists from, 20 years.
Mm.
But I mean, that was my style. And so with time, I perceived that what I was doing, like models and cars,
Yeah.
was not the best option for my career, because I was feeling myself the authorial part. I want to do storytelling. I want to tell a story
Mm.
about a specific theme, and like being comprehensive with the people that I met. So I tried many things, and I try my first zine, like as far as I can remember, was a documentation during the pandemic.
Okay.
I was living the time in Umbria region in the central
Mm-hmm.
Italy, and there was no one around, so no people, no nothing. And I just try and struggled a lot, because it was like the pandemic in Italy. It's very, very hard.
Yeah,
So you
must
can
have been
go
hard. Yeah.
outside, you can do like small trips. And I remember bringing my camera from my house to the supermarket, just for the for point A to point B,
Mm.
just to document something. And so I did, and it came out a little zine that was called Terre Umbre,
Okay.
like Umbria Heartland.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was like a collection of um, landscapes, but with no people, because it was
Okay.
full pandemic. There were
Yeah.
no people,
No
and
people
so
around.
that started my authorial point
Yeah.
of view. Something I
Okay.
want to show people.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you mentioned a few points that I find quite yeah, powerful and fascinating. Is that the film photography? I mean, I come from the days of film. I learned my photography before digital was there, late
Yeah,
80s, early 90s, and then yeah, with the transition into digital. But what you mentioned about film photography and what I also appreciate about is that slowing down, being more present in the moment, which allows you to yeah, just to just experience the process of making the image. And I think film photography maybe lends itself also more to what you're doing currently, is building up these projects, like with your zine, and also your American Midwest project, and you've just come back
yeah,
from America as well on another project, well, on extending that project a bit further. And film photography, I think, lends it to building up a body of work like that. What we in the old days, well, in the old days or before in film photography days, what we would call a photo essay. So it's not just about
yeah,
making one image that has a big impact. It's about making a lot of different images. One on its own is not necessarily going to stop someone in their tracks, but as a body of work, that's what gives it
exactly.
its meaning and its power. And I think that's maybe something that's been a bit lost in the digital era. It's still there. A lot of people still pursue those type of projects, but I think it's become more about, like you mentioned, like technology and making just one image that's just absolutely mind blowing, and that's getting a bit um, tiresome, just like for lack of a better word.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, film nowadays, film photography and digital photography are the same, because they both produce an high quality output, but it's not in the output, it's in the experience for me.
Exactly. Yeah.
And like you say, working with film and being very slow gives you a perception of what you're doing that it's deeper than the actual digital stuff, because you can do like thousands and thousands of images
Yeah.
with and get lost, basically.
Yeah.
Because I remember shooting with digital, having like SD cards with a lot of images, never open it, because I mean, you have 2000 pictures, no time, and not this is not very, I mean, if you're doing that for work, it's fine. But I mean, it was an hobby, and so when I started, I mean, so it was not very pleasant to look at 2000 photos. When I switched to film photography, and to specifically medium format,
Yeah.
6x7, I had like 10 pictures per roll, so the circle was very
That must have
close.
been quite
And
almost like a shock, like
yeah. I went through 2000 to 10 shot per roll. I was like bodywork of 40 images. I was like, okay, let's work on that. And it was super fine for me. And
yeah.
it's still, because I slow it, because I'm now shooting 4x5.
Okay.
And so it's like very slow. And you have like
Yeah.
one picture per sheet, or two picture
Yeah. Whoa.
per sheet. So it's like seems like an utopia,
Yeah.
because you like, the more you shoot, the more work you produce.
Yeah.
I shoot like very few images per year now, unless for the American project. I will talk a little bit
Yeah.
into that in a moment. But I mean, it's just my decision.
Mm.
Nobody cares about. I mean, I'm not like pressured by this. It's my choice.
Yeah.
I'll do that until it's satisfied. I can say maybe 10 years to switch back to digital. So I'm just leaving the moment with that.
But
Sorry.
speaking about yeah, 6x7, 4x5. So when on your recent America trip, you were shooting exclusively 4x5.
No, in my recent trip, so since 2022, I focused into 6x7. So
Okay.
all my projects so far are 6x7, medium format.
Yeah.
And so 4x5, I'm just starting. So probably
Okay.
the next project will be in 4x5,
Yeah.
just because it takes time.
And
About
you
my
actually,
American trip, yeah.
no, sorry. I think I can remember. Sorry, just I remember seeing something online about you receiving the camera. So yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah. And so I'm early. And I'm just still struggling with
Mm.
that. So it takes time.
Yeah.
But about my American Midwest
Mm.
trips, I use 6x7 because I've always been fascinated by the works of the American landscape photographers back in the 80s. They were using always 6x7 or 6x6, so the square format.
Yeah.
But I mean, 6x7 is amazing. I love that. A lot of details, a lot of depth of field. You will get that the nice, not so squared look that is perfect for landscape, and it's perfect for portraits too. So,
but with and you're the 6x7 camera that you're using, the film camera, what camera is that?
I have two film cameras. I have the two Mamiyas.
Okay.
The RZ67, that's the bigger one with the waist level you'll find there.
Yeah.
That I mainly use that for portraits because it's a portrait camera. And then for landscape, I have the Mamiya 7, that it's like a portable rangefinder camera. It's very good because you can like make an hike with that, and it's like made of plastic, so it's very lightweight.
That's light. Okay. Yeah.
You can go, basically, it's for travel. It's like less than 1 kilos with a lens.
Yeah. So with a medium format, that's perfect. That's very acceptable. Yeah. Film especially.
Exactly. And so I'm using that most of the time nowadays. I bring always two cameras, because I want to make sure to have the right tools for the right images. So if it's portrait, I use the RZ. If it's landscape, I use the Mamiya 7.
Yeah. The RZ is it's a bulky camera.
Yeah, it's very like 4 kilos total. You use that. I mean, I'm very huge guy, so I can use that like a point and shoot. I mean, it requires a tripod. It requires some adjustments because it does not mirror, so you see the image from left to right.
Yeah, up and reflect on opposite.
Yeah, it's reflected. It's mirrored.
Yes.
So it's a process. I mean, it's an experience of camera. I love that. It's my favorite camera ever. I took the best shot with that, so I'm very grateful for that camera. It's like 42 years old and still rocks. So yeah.
Okay. And being medium, well, one being film and two being medium format. So when you were traveling now to the Midwest, what's your thought process about making an image? Because obviously it's once you identify something that you want to photograph or a possibility, it takes a bit of setup time, especially if it's a person. You obviously interacted quite a bit, or what was your thought process there?
Yeah. So my last trip was very special because in the Midwest, I've experienced it for the first time, taking portraits of strangers in the US. So it was my first time shooting people in the US. And so
with
approaching, sorry?
With the camera, shooting people with the camera.
Yeah, shooting people with the camera. Because this is fun, but not so fun. Shooting people with a camera, with a medium format camera. And so I was like approaching people very, very genuinely, bringing always my camera that always gives people curiosity. So you see this big guy coming with his big camera. I was with my fiance that was like holding the video camera for the documentary you see on YouTube. So people was not so afraid to approach me. It was fun. They were like excited and curious to see, because the Midwest is not a very touristy country, part of the country. So people are not used to see people taking images or people just approaching from abroad. So every time someone hear me with my accent, with my Italian accent, say, "Where are you from? You're not from here." And so it starts, the flow is very, very genuine, very straightforward. So people were like, "Okay, let's take a picture, no problem." And those little times I've experienced it with the film cameras, people were like, we were knowing each other since a lifetime. It was like portion of minutes that were very, very well connected. So the portrait I took, even if we were like 2 minutes talking with people, very small amount of time, were very, very deep. And you will see in images what I'm talking about when the bodywork will be revealed. And you see like having like going in your town and shooting picture of people that you know from a lifetime. Was very, very cool to be a first time. The trip was difficult overall because it was a month trip on the road. I made 13 stays, a lot of kilometers. Most of the time it rains. And so I struggled a bit, but yeah, both challenging, but I was satisfied when maybe 1 or 2 shots I made in one day. So it was
Okay,
not a matter of quantity, but a matter of quality, as
quality.
always.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's so different to like people would approach the project like this with a digital camera, where you would almost focus on quantity to a large extent, and then try and extract
yeah,
quality from that. Whereas with film, you and especially medium format, you approach it, yeah, from the completely opposite point. But the beautiful thing for me from that is that the connections with the people that you mentioned, and um, in the end, when you, I think people who view the image can almost feel that in a way.
yeah. They resonate instantly with
Mm,
what you're doing. And when I like, they are very proud of the country. There maybe are people that works on the field like
mm,
full time per year. They don't make like trip abroad. They just lived all over that place for the entire
yeah,
lifetime. Even like the younger ones, that the younger ones are like escaping those reality because 2024 is not like the 90s. You can go wherever you
yeah,
want, but elderly people are very, very um, like they love their country. I mean, and this love is very deep, and people don't want to move from that.
yeah,
So I talk with a lot of people that say, I live my lifetime here. I want to die here because
mm,
it's my land, it's my culture. I have my cows, I have my cornfield,
yeah,
and something like that. And you see that from those eyes when I photograph them, they are very passionate
yeah,
about what they're doing from the lifetime. So
yeah. That's
it's
beautiful.
like its own world. It's a different America, of
Yeah,
course, different state
yeah.
from where
And I
they are.
think, like you mentioned earlier, also when we spoke briefly about where I've been in Italy, is that especially in the Midwest, when you go out of the places that you see on television or that is often spoken about, you really, like you mentioned, you really see, not only you see more of the country, but you see more realness and more actual America. Which
Exactly.
forms the biggest part. And
Yeah,
you meet beautiful people, you have beautiful experiences, and um, it's worthwhile. It's very much worthwhile, especially if
yeah.
you document it
It's
through
an
photography.
experience for your life. I mean, no one's made like road trips like that. I mean, if you ask me, do you want to make another time that Midwest trip? I'd say no because it was too challenging. I mean, the place is amazing. Of course, I will go there, but if it was not for the photography side of things that makes a challenge
Mm,
and boost your will to document something,
yeah,
the Midwest is very difficult. It's not like stuff, even if it's not that touristy
yeah,
sometimes. But the Midwest was a really unique experience
yeah,
and once in a lifetime because it's not a place where you can hang out or do things. It's just for work.
yeah, yeah. Or if you just enjoy peace and quiet.
Yeah, it was
but
very peaceful.
but I think what you mentioned, what I think what you described there for me is what I like to call one of the superpowers of photography, is that
Yeah,
it both encourages us to go out and experience or explore places we wouldn't normally think, okay, I want to go there just to go there. But because we want to photograph it, um, we make the effort to go. And because we have the camera to photograph what we want to photograph or what we find interesting, then it becomes something completely different
yeah.
and better. Or and
Yeah, photography made the experience
yeah,
because you connected with people because of photography. You were there exploring places because of photography. I was anxious a little bit the first 2 weeks because I was okay. I have to bring something from a place that probably has not very much character, but it has character.
mm,
And but it's not that. I mean, when I was in the Southwest, everywhere you go, you can take a picture and be satisfied with the shot because
yeah,
you have like the cliche shots, the mountains, or just the blooming skies. You saw my images.
yeah,
In the Midwest, there was no blooming sky. It was all cornfields, all flats, all cows, animals, farmer stuff. I mean, it's not like something I will people would do for a road trip to have fun.
yeah,
But
yeah,
for photography, it was so worth it because I
awesome.
experienced something different
Yeah,
from, from the
yeah.
usual US.
Absolutely. I think, I mean, I found it really fascinating, and I would advise, I mean, I'll put all your details in the description down below,
Yeah,
for people
thank you.
to go and check him out. And I would definitely advise people to do that. You do some really,
Appreciate
really
it.
cool stuff. We literally have like 2 minutes left. So, in that case, I just want to ask you one or two sort of more general questions, more sort of like quick fire questions, if that's okay.
Okay, let's go.
So obviously you're Italian, you live in Italy. If someone had to go to one place in Italy, where would you recommend?
For a first time,
Yeah.
go to the southern part of Italy. Please go
No,
to the southern, go to Naples, go to the Amalfi Coast, go to Sicily. I mean, it's something different.
yeah.
It's tourist 15%, but it's worth it because
Okay.
you live the real Italian experience.
Awesome. I love
Well,
it.
if you go to Milan and experience things that it's like New York of the US, I mean, it's a
Yeah.
cliche, Italian cliche or like Venice. It's like, I mean, it's thousand
Yeah.
years old.
Yeah.
Go to southern Italy. Go to south and experience people from the south.
And take your camera.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Well, I think we're going to have to end it there, Francesco. Like I mentioned, I think this has been really awesome, especially for a first time. I'd love to connect with you again on another talk. I think there's so much more to talk about. Just want to thank you for
Yeah,
taking the
sure.
time, and yeah, I look forward to see how you get on with the project, all your stuff.
Yeah,
Anybody listening or watching, definitely check out Francesco's stuff. It's
thank you so much, Cornelius. Means a lot. Thank you for
okay.
having me here. Very honored.
I'm
Can't
honored that
wait
you.
to dive more into those talks.
Awesome, and thanks so much for taking the time. I appreciate it. Have a great day in Italy. There, we'll chat soon.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Ciao, ciao. Bye.
Ciao, 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 ciao.